These coins are awesome! You're now watching Because Geek. A Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Mistborn, The Kingkiller Chronicle, The Wheel of Time. These are some of the best fantasy novels that we've read throughout the years, and one of the reasons for that is because each of them have created a world that feels so real and immersive that we end up fantasizing about what it would be like to just be there and see it with our own eyes and touch it with our own hands and probably not stay there very long because some of these places are kind of dangerous. But you know what I mean. Whenever we find some way to interact with these fantasy worlds, we are basically the happiest nerds on earth. And that is where the Shire Post Mint comes in. This awesome family-owned business based in Arkansas brings to reality, as their name suggests, one of the most interesting aspects from these worlds: their currency system. And let me tell you, they're not messing around. They create some of the most authentic collectible coins out there. They don't cut corners or automate anything, they do it the traditional way, the hard way, and it pays off. These coins just feel and look awesome. It's very easy to believe that they came straight out of one of our favorite fantasy worlds. And all of the big names that I mentioned at the beginning are some of the series that the Shire Post has acquired licenses for so far. Poof! Me, being a huge Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire nerd, have collected a lot of the coins that they have made for that world. And as I show you my collection, I will mention some cool facts about the Shire Post Mint, because there's a lot of them. The most important coin to talk about is the Faceless Man coin. Because, as you may remember, this Braavosi Faceless Man coin has also made an appearance in the show. And yes, as you can see, it looks very different. This has actually prompted a lot of people to tell the Shire Post Mint that they're not doing it right, which isn't true. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the coin that they made for the show, except for the fact that the Faceless Man has a face. But this coin right here has been approved by George R.R. Martin himself. If literary accuracy is important to you, this is the coin to get. Another thing to mention is that these are not plated coins like some prop replicas that you might get from a movie set. These are made from solid pieces of metal, which means that it's very hard to damage them, and there's nothing on them that can be worn off by touching them too much. In fact, the more you touch them, the better, apparently. Just make sure to wash your hands afterwards because you can feel that dirty feeling you get on your fingers from like touching actual currency. That's how real they feel. This one you can get in pure iron or pure silver. Another cool thing that I love about the Shire Post Mint is that they take into consideration the time period that the coin should have existed in, according to the lore created by the author. For example, this coin right here is the Torrance Stark penny. It has him on this side and it has a wolf face on the other, with the word Winterfell on it. As you might remember, Torrance Stark was the last king in the north, the one who bent the knee to Aegon the Conqueror. So they calculated that in our world, the equivalent of the age that Torrance Stark lived in would be close to the Viking Age. So the minting techniques and the carving style that they used on this coin are the same that Vikings would have used. Even if you didn't know this, you can immediately tell when you compare it to this Robb Stark half-dragon, for example, which definitely looks more modern. On this one you can also see Grey Wind behind Robb, and one of the Winterfell towers on the other side. Since we seem to be on the topic of Starks, let me show you the rest of my Stark coins before I move on to the next cool fact. They have this half penny for Rickard Stark with his face on this side, and the Stark sigil on the other. And then there's also this half groat for Eddard Stark himself, aka Ned, and again it just has him with his name on one side and then the Stark sigil on the other. Usually my favorite coins are the ones that have a shape other than circular, so I personally love this one they made for the Iron Bank. The cool fact here is that the square shape and the design style were inspired by ancient Babylonian and Indo-Greek coins. You can see the similarities here when you put them side by side. I also just love how many cool details they add to some of these coins. On this one you not only have the Braavosi warrior helm, but also a sword on each side, which is very representative of their culture, and the words Iron Bank and Braavos here. Then on the other side we have this hourglass with open hands, and the text around it actually says the Iron Bank will have its due in Valyrian, which is awesome. By the way, this is solid iron too, which is exactly what you would expect from the Iron Bank. So now that we're talking about coins from Essos, let me show you what else they have from there. This is another one of their cool shaped coins, the one from Qohor. It's made of copper and it features the black goat that they worship. It also has a little drop of blood right here, which represents the blood sacrifices made to the black goat. And on the back, it reads Cohor Anog Rosa, which is Valyrian again for Cohor with blood. This coin is actually meant to be worn as a necklace, for worshippers to display their allegiance. People who have read the books may also remember the two political parties found in Volantis, the merchant elephants and the warrior tigers. Yep, the Shire Post Mint has one coin for each of these, in brass. The cool thing about them is that they both have the same concept of design, with a skull on one side and a crown with Valyrian words and their respective animals on the other. But it's easy to notice that they each look very different, and this is because in that world, the rival parties would not have shared engravers or specific designs, so naturally, each coin would have been unique. A lot of the coins from the Shire Post have extra lore like this. And by the way, the Valyrian on this side says, First Man of the First Blood. They also made a Dothraki currency proxy type of thing. The back lore for this is that even though the Dothraki don't believe in currency, what the people that they traded with did is cut apart their stamped armbands into pieces and use them for bartering or haggling. You can get this from the Shire Post not only cut apart, but also as the full-on stamped armband, if you'd prefer that instead. And they have Khal Drogo's image and name on it. Coins from Essos is a good segue to start talking about House Targaryen coins. Starting with the Daenerys Targaryen Mark of Marine right here, displaying her and her 3 dragons on this side, with her name, and then it says Breaker of Chains on this side with a set of broken shackles, a pyramid, and its value. According to the Shire Post Mint, Daenerys had this coin minted to replace the concept of using slaves as currency in Marine. That's what makes me like this particular coin so much. Its purpose feels very realistic. There are 3 other coins for this house, which proudly display a dragon on one side. This older looking one, as you may have already guessed, is Aegon the Conqueror's penny. He's here with his 2 sisters. Then we have the grandson of that Aegon, Jaehaerys I's golden dragon. I do own this one, but I don't want to unstick it from here, so I will show you a picture of what the other side looks like. And last but not least, a half penny for Aegon Targaryen V, also known as Egg, from the Dunk and Egg novels. Then there are 2 more Targaryen coins that don't display a dragon because they are actually silver stags. One for Aegon the Conqueror, again with the same design as the penny, and one for Aerys II, also known as the Mad King, which I don't have the silver version of, but this is what it looks like. Adding a stag on the back of these instead of a dragon was meant to help people who couldn't read. They would be able to know how much the coin was worth just by looking at it. Last but not least in this category, there was one coin made for the Targaryen bastard Daemon Blackfyre, with his face and name on here, and a 3-headed dragon on the other side. According to the Shire Post Mint, Daemon had the forethought to start producing his own coins to mark the future occasion when he would ascend the throne. Yeah, sounds like Daemon. Now moving on to the house that actually ended the Targaryen dynasty, House Baratheon has 4 coins. One copper star for Robert Baratheon, with his face and name on one side, and a 7-pointed star on the other. Not only meant to symbolize the Faith of the Seven religion, but also to symbolize its denomination, which again helped people who couldn't read. This way they would be able to remember that 7 copper stars were worth 1 silver stag. We have a coin for Stannis as well, again with his face and name on one side, but with his flaming heart sigil on the other, his title and year. This is the Joffrey quote-unquote Baratheon golden dragon. Of course he'd get a golden dragon. Other than his smug little face on this side, with name and year, it also has a very neat Baratheon and Lannister sigil on the other side. Last but not least, Tommen, quote-unquote Baratheon, also gets his own coin. And if the golden dragon represented Joffrey, then this half penny is the perfect representation of Tommen, with his cute little face and name on this side, and his Baratheon sigil and title on the other. If you really like half pennies, I have 3 more to show you. One for Loren Lannister, the first Warden of the West, one for Doran Martell, and one for Quellan Greyjoy. All with their respective sigils on the other side. Parallel to these are the half-dragons, with Quellan Greyjoy getting another coin for himself here, the awesome Oberyn Martell, Tywin Lannister, which is meant to look better than the rest with a lighter gold look. The one I have is a bit dirty though. Then one for Mace Tyrell, and another for Garth Greenhand. Again, they all have their respective sigils on the other side. Other than Quellan, his son Balon is the other Greyjoy who's got a couple coins of his own. When he declared himself king of the Iron Islands, this penny here shows him wearing a crown and holding a great peril and an axe, symbolizing his mastery of the sea, with the kraken on the back. And then there's this copper star, with a very young version of himself on this side, and a reaver from his own Iron Fleet on the other. A cool little tidbit mentioned by the Shire Post Mint about this coin is that it was probably minted on top of other Westerosi coinage that they stole, since that is their way of doing things. You know, taking property from others by force. They were paying the iron price for these coins. House Nymeros Martell, more commonly known as House Martell, gets its own coin, not really meant to be tied to any particular person, but just meant to represent Dorne's most powerful house. The one house we haven't mentioned yet is the Freys. Yeah, they just have this little penny here, but there's some very interesting lore around it. The normal version has Walder's face on one side and the twins over the Green Fork River on the other. LOTC here stands for Lord of the Crossing, but rumors say that these coins have been cursed ever since Walder violated the sacred guest right, and in order to nullify the coin's bad luck and deflect it onto Walder's heirs, people started carving things on top of Walder's face. And there are at least 3 known variations of this carved coin. One with a plain X on it, another one with a stern figure of a woman, also known as Catelyn's Curse, and another one with a skull, also known as Death's Head. This is the one that the Shire Post Mint has brought to life. Sadly, at the moment it's sold out, but I just love that extra little bit of lore that they added there. Now there are 2 more coins left, each different in its own way. First, there's this silver moon for Tommen II Lannister, who was king of Casterly Rock long before Aegon conquered Westeros. The legend says that he was never seen again after he ventured on a trip to the ruins of Valyria, hoping to find wealth and sorcery that were rumored to still be there. This coin is made of 99.9% pure silver, and it's one of their largest and priciest ones. The perfect coin to put on display, if you ask me. And the second of these last 2 coins is this Peach Brothel token. I mean, you can already guess what it's for. According to the lore, the Peach Brothel in Stony Sept was one of the places where Robert Baratheon hid during his rebellion, when the hand of King Aerys II, Jon Connington, went after him with a royal army. Robert ended up defeating Jon here in what would be later called the Battle of the Bells. But just like many of the other coins, this one also has a bit of its own extra lore behind it. You can read it all on their product page, but basically these tokens were only used inside of the Peach Brothel. And it wasn't rare to give this as a gift to young, inexperienced men when they came of age. So I hope you're convinced that these Shire Post Mint coins are the perfect gift for any true fan. And remember, they not only make Game of Thrones coins, but also coins from many other popular novels as well. I actually fell in love with this elvish necklace from The Lord of the Rings. And I also got my hands on this Kingkiller Chronicle Iron Drab. I love it! You can buy them in sets, some of them come individually, some are made in different materials like iron, copper, brass, or silver. You can buy some on necklaces. And if you catch the Shire Post Mint at a convention, you can get this big pouch filled with a bunch of random coins. The ones that didn't make it through quality control, but they're still really good. And the way that they package them is so great too. They give you a handwritten envelope with a handwritten note inside from the founder Tom Maringer himself, and some extra info. Also, on the inside of the pamphlet that they stick the coins on, you'll find all the information you need about the coins that you got, and even some quotes from the books that they're based on. Okay, so I think you've been waiting for this whole time, right? The giveaway? Yeah? Yes, I am having a giveaway and I will be picking 7 winners. Yes, I know 7 is a weird number, but in the world of George R. R. Martin, he's made 7 a pretty big, relevant number, so I figured it fit. Of course, there are 7 prizes, and here they are. A Faceless Man coin necklace, a Daenerys Targaryen coin necklace, a Faceless Man coin, another Faceless Man coin, a Daenerys coin, an Iron Bank coin, and a Joffrey coin. All you have to do to enter is just be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. What you say in the comment doesn't really matter as long as you let me know that you do want a coin. I will be using the YouTube random comment picker to pick the winners fairly, and then I will contact the winners. And if you just want to go straight to the website and buy anything that you want, I will be leaving some links in the description that you can use for that. And you can also use my discount code BECAUSEGEEK to get 15% off your total. But also, at no extra cost to you, if you use the links in my description, you will also be supporting my channel with that, so thank you so much in advance. Now it's time to just say to please leave a like if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one! Talk to you about some cool facts about the Slap like a maniac, because that helps. Literary. If you care about literary accuracy, this is the coin to get. So, where were we?